Welcome to another 0 to 60. Now you may notice we are actually in the middle of the walnut blasting of the inlet valves.
Yeah, and we thought this was probably going to be the easiest or quickest time to do a compression test. Now I had planned to do a compression test before we finalised everything with the turbo, mainly because I don't know how healthy this engine is. I bought it about 5,000 kilometres ago. It was overdue for a service at that point in time, had many oil leaks, and the guy I bought it off, he had only owned it for a couple of months and he just didn't know the history of it. So we don't know if it's spent all of its life bouncing off the rev limiters or what. So let's do a compression test and find out. Now, if you have never done a compression test or you don't know what it is, it basically measures the total compression that the cylinder can produce when you crank it over. And it normally takes 5 to 7 seconds of cranking on most 4-stroke engines to get maximum compression. And I guess it's just it's a tool to measure how much everything's worn. I've read figures on these where they normally have around that 200 psi.
Okay.
But a lot of people argue that a lot of compression testers are inaccurate and they read different amounts. I think a pressure gauge is pretty simple and they should be fairly accurate.
And in saying that, really you just want to look for a similar number across all cylinders, regardless of what engine it is.
Yeah, that's mainly how people work out if there's something wrong. So if cylinder 1 is the correct 200 psi and then cylinder 2 is 150, there's obviously an issue with cylinder 2. Right, now we're going to try and do this in a one take so it's nice and simple. I have the compression tester here.
Pretty simple kit, but you want to run through what's involved?
Yeah, the kits come with a few different adapters so you can run them into different size spark plug holes, and I've already got my plugs out, so I will just compare threads and make sure I'm using the correct adapter.
We've also got,
which we have there.
This is used for when you're doing the walnut blasting to seal the valves. So we've got that hooked up directly to the starter motor, which we'll use to...
it basically turns the engine over.
Yeah, nice and simple.
So put that one back. Got the right adapter, just make sure it's clean. We've got all the spark plugs out already. I've actually, as you can probably see, we've got the intake manifold off as well. And I'll just slide that down and in there. If you are doing this yourself, just take your time when you thread the compression tester tool in. Some of the cheaper ones I've used don't have quite a sturdy hose, but this Motion Pro hose is quite strong and also quite bent. So you have got to just be careful so you don't cross thread anything. And you don't need to go nuts with the tightness, you just want to squish that O-ring down. I'll just show you a close up of the tool. It is basically just a basic pressure gauge and a relief valve with a quick release fitting. So we'll pop it on.
As it's cranking, I'll film the
gauge.
Well, I was going to film the just so you can actually see what the valves are doing when it's oh, they're nice and dirty. That needs a walnut blast.
Lucky we're doing it. Actually, I'll film the gauge so they can see how much the pressure goes up as we crank.
And just so if somebody doesn't know what the compression test does, you'll be able to see the valves open and close.
Okay, that's filming. You filming?
Yep.
Oh, nice starter. Now, as you would have just seen on this video that I'll put up on there, I've basically done it until the needle stops climbing, and cylinder 1 has come up at 200 psi.
Damn.
That's it. On to the next one. I think
that's a lot of compression.
It is. Like I was saying before, you've got to sort of take it with a pinch of salt just in case this gauge does read high, although Motion Pro is sort of an okay quality.
We haven't cheaped out on something for once. We've got a decent gauge.
Probably still could have spent more on going snapping. These are about 4 times the price of like an eBay gauge.
Yeah, which is where this come from, and everything else you see here.
That is really handy though. Cylinder 2. So cylinder 1 was 200. We should write this down, but instead we'll remember it, and we've got the video for evidence.
We'll ask you guys.
Probably don't need to film the valves again. But I will get you to film
the gauge.
The gauge. Actually, yeah, I'll do that so I can have a stop if I panic. Right, filming.
Yep.
Cylinder 2.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's pretty much bang on 200 again.
Yep.
if they are all 200, I'm going to be very amazed because
Well, it can't.
I just felt like this car wasn't loved by its previous owners.
Well, it wasn't, was it?
No,
100%
definitely not.
wasn't.
Definitely not the guy I bought it from. Well, he just wasn't mechanically minded. He just used it.
And you got it with the JB4 and an exhaust and an intake, so...
And a leaky radiator. And a leaky water pump.
Yeah, so it's probably...
And a leaky pan gasket.
Hasn't just been driven like Mrs. Daisy.
No, I reckon it's been raped. And he even told me how impressed he was with how fast it was. Had cheap tyres on the back, Pirellis on the front, so it was a bit like I'm sure he's been doing burnouts. Not complaining, it's just how you go, and that doesn't mean it's bad. Ready for the next one?
Yep. No
200 again.
That is insane.
Now, I know from reading logs, these are, it's normally cylinder 4 that is prone for timing corrections.
Okay.
Now, I don't know, or maybe it's 5, it's one of the rear cylinders. Okay. They are prone to having timing corrections, which means they must run a bit hotter and maybe run with a bit more load. You may notice, I just want to make sure I clean this every time I fit it in, just so that there's no grime or anything on the end of it as it slides into the spark plug hole.
Yeah, that is literally directly into the cylinder, so you don't want anything going in there.
No. Cylinder 4. You see that one all right?
We are good.
That's amazing.
We got there.
It's 200 again. Oh no, it's under.
Just, is it?
Yeah, I'd say that is... The gauge isn't overly accurate, but that is...
199?
150, 160, 170, 180, 190. It's 190.
190, okay.
So we're down a bit. That's 5%, which traditionally on an older style engine, a variance of 5% is nothing to worry about. I don't know if it's an issue on an M54. Please, if you know that is bad.
To be fair, there was nothing wrong with your engine. It's not missing. It's not.
It feels powerful.
It feels strong as anything. So it's really just doing the compression test because everything's off and it's easy to do, and it's especially as he's throwing these turbos on.
Well, yeah, I wanted to have an idea really of how healthy it is, just in case the turbos make particularly low numbers.
Oh yeah.
So instead of blaming the turbos, we know this engine wasn't running at its optimum.
Yeah, and you can still, I guess, throw everything on, but just keep an eye out for an engine if you need to.
Yes. I've kind of been thinking that, depending on how silly we go, I need to expect to blow this engine up. Hopefully not in the next year or so, but
That's what you do.
Just as we get really crazy with boost. Ready?
Yep.
Okay, that took a lot longer.
Yes, it was still climbing, but it didn't get to 200 like the others.
No, that has come up at 160, 70, 80.
180.
180, just 10% down.
Okay. That's still not an issue, from my understanding, on older engines.
Can you see my concern? Let's just check it again. I don't need to film it. Well, not
Just
that.
crank it.
Yeah. Okay, that was holding it for quite a long time.
Yeah.
I don't want to overheat the starter. That's got up to 190,
Okay.
but it's taken much longer to get there, where these were getting to 200
Just go
pretty
bang.
quickly.
Yeah, and then sit there.
So that one is down a bit on compression.
Interesting. Very interesting.
We'll still give it one, I don't know. You guys can take that information as you wish. It still will get up to 190, but it's taken a lot longer to get there. I'm counting it as 180.
Okay.
No, it's 190. In the comments, let us know the right way, because it's got there, just
It did get
it's
there.
taken a lot longer to get there.
Yeah, you could, hopefully you can see on this video, as it's the last few cranks, it's just climbing really slowly, whereas the other cylinders just go bang, 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 200. All right, well, cylinder 6, last one.
Cylinder 6. Okay, we ready?
Yep. About the same.
That's gone a bit higher. That's just over 190.
Okay, cool.
Maybe like 192.
Sweet.
So they're all within 5%.
It's fine. Just put the turbos on. Send it.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna probably end this video off here because that's enough information for it. But please, if you've got this far, let me know what your thoughts on those figures are. If I should be worried, if it's a healthy N54. And we'll just keep it in mind so that people can use that to evaluate the power numbers that it finally makes.
Yeah.
I think it's all right.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Is that it? Do we need to say anything else?
I think that's it.
We're doing a one take.
Yeah, we've got to do this, so we'll get on with that.
Yeah. Actually, we'll put this video out first. So the video that you'll see next will be the walnut cleaning and then the port injection. So make sure you subscribe. Things are going to get spicy around here.
Peace.